Maybe I'm just nostalgic, or maybe it's truly magical. Oh, when I see that castle, the feeling is truly magical. Maybe I'm just nostalgic. Maybe it's truly magic. Maybe I'm just nostalgic. Maybe it's truly magic.
I'm Brooke.
And I'm Andrew.
And this is a DisNeatoPodcast.
And this is part 2 episode from our debate series, mini-series, basically 2 episodes. So, if you did not listen to part 1 of the debate episodes, get your asses off of this one, go back and listen to the first one, and then come back to this one. But if you did listen to the first one, awesome. We're back. Let's finish. Let's keep it going. We're back from recess. I've had some water.
I thought Matt was supposed to introduce it. We were back.
Had the dogs gone out? They're good too. Yep. Okay, we're back.
All right, welcome back from the recess that we took last week. The newest debate topic that is on the table is
Don't cry.
Another one where I don't recall who suggested it, so I apologize to them in advance. But the question is, death in children's movies. Brooke, you are of the belief that we need to see more death in children's films. Andrew,
son of a bitch.
You are grossly against this discussion.
Okay, I'm just going to quick say, Brooke, the conversation we had earlier about personalities, like, I'm so mad that you get this one because you're lucky. Okay.
The floor is now yours.
Thank you. Death in children's movies. It seems like an obvious thing that, we wouldn't want to expose our children to something so dark, something so heavy. And so we do a lot of things to protect them from the realities of the world. But that's just it. Death is a reality. And our children are going to have to face the harsh truths of the world at some point. I believe that exposing them at a young age induces childhood trauma that builds character and develops well-rounded personalities that can then grow up to prosper and give back to society. As a child of the 90s, I grew up with classic Disney films such as Bambi, Lion King, Cinderella. Sorry, my dog's crying in my ear. He is watching someone die right now. And I learned at a young age that bad things happen to good people sometimes, and people you love will eventually pass on. What this did to me is scar me for life and turned me into a cold-hearted, emotionless Grinch, so to speak. And that has allowed me to prosper in several avenues. One of them is business. I can take my emotions right out of things because I don't have them to begin with. I have a dark sense of humor, which I think is great. Lots of people enjoy that. I am also able to see pain in others because I have once felt what they are feeling just through watching death in movies. I've otherwise been pretty privileged in my life. I think the sooner kids learn the realities of the world, the more adapted they become and the more capable they are of facing these realities and continuing on in life. I absolutely don't think we should sugarcoat anything. I think that breeds entitled, bratty, unrealistic adults, which we have enough of at this point in time. I think our parental protection has gone too far at a lot of times, and I think kind of letting kids be exposed to how things go in the natural world is very, underappreciated. Also, kids should just know that people die. That's it.
All right, Andrew, the floor is now yours.
I yield my time.
Andrew, your time is running.
I was writing another note.
Yeah.
So I'd like to back up a little from your statement and ask you, based on your
Is this something I can answer? Are you looking for an answer?
How does Disney leverage death in films to foster a positive outcome and lessons learned in children? It is good that Disney shows death in films because it teaches kids to be stronger and blah, 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 blah. What specifically are they doing with a death scene or death situation in a film? And how are they illustrating that so that when a child looks at that, there's a positive outcome and it's not a detriment?
It's absolutely a teachable moment. When Mufasa dies in The Lion King, spoiler alert, that happens.
Could you imagine if somebody listens to this, you're like, oh my God, what? I haven't seen it yet.
We'd like the record to show that Lion King does not come out for another 3 months. You have, in fact, spoiled the movie.
Yes.
Oh, shit. People might not have seen the first one. Yeah.
It's very traumatic, but it is a teachable moment for a child. Lots of children. I was very young when that movie came out, and I wasn't very familiar with the concept of death. So this was a teachable moment for my parents to tell me what happens to everyone at some point at their existence here on Earth. I got to watch a character go through that, overcome the pain, and still come out on top. That teaches children that, yes, you are going to face very hard times in your life, like the death of a loved one, but life still goes on. And you have to be strong enough to continue forward. I yield my time.
So, as you said, it gives parents an opportunity to have a good lesson with the child and explain these situations and learn from it. What about the kids who don't have parents? What about the kids who don't have a parent who is going to take the time to explain that, and a child's just going to watch that and be left to their own devices to absorb that however they are? Disney needs to be very mindful and careful about what they're putting in these films and cannot expect that a parent is going to have that follow-up conversation with a child after a child is exposed to the content of the movies. For example, you had also mentioned about parental protection has gone too far and kind of hiding these things from kids and things like that. But think of all the video games where there's death and shootings and violence and what that's fostered and created in our nation. Think of how many kids have gone to school and seen a classmate get shot or seen somebody get injured and the violence that comes with that. So while there is an opportunity to have a positive outcome and lesson, I think that there is far more risk and negative side effects that can come with that, given what we've seen in the last few years in society.
Okay. Let's take the scenario that a child watches a movie where there is some kind of death and the parents are not very involved or active in the child's life, so they don't have an opportunity to explain.
I'm sorry, you did not acknowledge the mention of the shootings in schools.
I'm
Are
going
you
to.
saying that you don't care about the children in schools?
No. I told you I'm heartless. Why would I care about children in schools?
Okay. Just wanted to clarify that for the record.
On the record.
Just wanted to clarify
it
that.
Does.
Good.
This
I'm
proves that
consistent.
she is still trustworthy.
Yes, I'm not lying here.
Well, we'll see about that.
So yes, let's take the kids that watched the films, saw the death, didn't have their parents. You stop. Explain what death is to them, but they saw it. They finished the film. They see how it progressed. They see the eventual outcome. Let's then take that child in that situation and another child that never saw anything about death ever. Let's put them in a classroom, so to speak, together. God forbid there is a mass shooting, because it is tragic for the nation when that happens. Both these kids are exposed to violence and death in that moment. Which kid do you think is going to be better equipped to process that emotional trauma? I'll wait.
Whichever child has a supportive parent to go home to.
A child that has never been exposed to the realities of the world, such as death, is going to be absolutely shocked at the notion, as compared to a child who has been exposed to it. Granted, the child that wasn't exposed may have a better support system. Let's just say that, for instance.
All right, you know what? To be fair, let's say that they both have let's say it's twins of the same parents and only one has seen the film. But they're the same. They're identical twins.
Okay.
Same.
But only one has been exposed to death.
Yes, like 2 rats and we gave one cheese and one not cheese.
Ooh, I would
Which
want to be the
farts
one
first?
with cheese. That still holds up to my argument. 2 kids from the same exact background, with the exception that one has been exposed to the reality that death is real, this is a thing that happens, but life goes on, you can persevere. And one that just thinks everything's hunky-dory and nothing bad is ever going to happen. I think the kid over here, which is my right hand, that's the hunky-dory kid, is going to have a much harder time processing what just happened or any tragic accident that might befall them in their lifetime. Not to mention, tragedy, as horrible as it is, builds character. We need people to see things broken to want to fix it.
But you said that given the death in those films has made you cold, hard, and emotionless inside. So how is a child to be exposed to something so violent and be able to come out on top in the end and work through that and grow through that and find the positivity and find a good outcome if they've already been exposed to something that's left them jaded and heartless and cold so that they're just numb?
Jaded. Don't you dare put descriptors on me.
It was implied.
The record
let's be
shows
honest.
she did not use the word jaded.
Did not.
Do you have the transcript?
Yes.
Where? Please bring Article A
Did not say jaded.
V2429
We can replay the tape.
dash
Jaded was never said.
47.2.
Jaded was never said. Jaded
line
was never
8,
said.
paragraph 4, word 3. Jaded.
Incorrect.
That was quoted by you.
At least I know where we're at in this script. Anywho.
I feel like, considering everything, I am well adjusted. I am a productive member of society. I help animals in need.
You help animals in need. Let me make it personal for you, Brooke.
Don't you dare.
Imagine.
Don't you dare.
Would you play an animated film of a dog getting killed in front of your children?
Yes, I would. I show them the SPCA commercials all the time because I want them to be
That's
grateful
a sick, pitiful
for what
dog,
they
not
have.
death.
I want them to see the realities of the world.
Yeah?
That not every dog lives
Yeah?
like they do. Some dogs
You know what?
suffer.
Then how
Some
about you
dogs
put
are
on
tortured.
the puppy stomping
Some
video
dogs die.
and play it for them and tell me the outcome that you have from that. Because
what video?
I'll tell you, it's not going to be good.
What video?
The record says he said the puppy stomping video.
He's so cute looking.
Now that I've said that, nobody watched that video. It is disturbing.
Yeah,
And
I don't know
you
why
will-
anyone would hit play on that.
Because you don't know what it is.
I mean, it's called the puppy stomping video. It seems pretty descriptive.
What do you think's going to happen?
I imagine a puppy's going to get stomped.
That's not what happens.
Oh, no.
Exactly.
Well, now
Don't
I'm even
watch
less
it.
inclined to see it.
No.
I said less.
Good. Well,
At this time,
Yes.
I'd like to open up the floor for closing statements. You just spoke, Andrew, so that's going to go over to
What?
Brooke.
that's fine. I like to have the final word.
Closing arguments?
Yeah.
As my final thought, I would just like to reiterate that death in children's movies, while it may seem harsh, teaches children a lot about what they will witness at some point in their life. Perhaps fairly early on, unfortunately. I also believe that these sorts of traumas are character building and can encourage a sense of humor and resilience in young childlike minds. I am all for realistic animated films being shown to our children, including ones with death. I yield my time.
Closing statements from you, Andrew.
I would like to first thank you for giving me the opportunity to have this platform and advocate for the
I
notion
strike to
of
have this
removing
removed
death
from the
from
record.
Disney films. And I would like to thank my opponent, Brooke, and colleague for giving me a fun and professional debate. That being said, I do believe that everything that Brooke has shared with you all throughout her statements today, and including the final statement, is absolute ridiculousness. And if we really want to get to a point in this world, in this country, and allow our youth to be able to grow up and live happy, prosperous lives, we can do a lot more rather than exposing them to death and negative situations in movies, and fostering positivity and creativity and love and kindness in those films. And by doing so, I think we can do more with love and kindness than with death and sadness. And even if there's an opportunity for a child to gain something that'll help them long term by watching that film early on, I believe that there's far too much risk in what can happen at that early stage where things really cling and stick to them, depending at what stage of development they're in, that could be far more damaging to them long term than would be positive.
All right, taking in both of your closing statements, I have to say, Andrew, there was a point that you brought up that you said, what about the kids who don't have parents? Which means that perhaps those kids might benefit from having something to let them know that these things do happen and that they're not alone in their sadness. And while I'm disappointed in Brooke for not bringing that up as a retort, I must award this to Brooke for her.
Please keep your personal emotions out of it. That's something that you would have learned from death in movies as a child. Being able to remove your emotions from things. Thank you.
I love that even when I award her the victory, I still get sass.
Which also proves that I'm the true victor, because Matt is evidence that you can watch Disney films and not be cold and numb.
Yes.
Are you still disturbed?
I didn't say you had to be cold and numb. I did not say that. I did not say that was a guarantee. Didn't say it was a requirement.
You listed it as a beneficial outcome to your own personal life by being exposed to Disney films.
Exactly. To my own
that is on the record.
Personal life. My own personal life.
All right. Well, that was the. Well, no, we're now on the list. Sorry, I was wrapping it up. Congratulations to Brooke. The score is now 2 Brooke, 1 Andrew. There
can only be one of me, so that makes sense.
This is Brooke's chance to win it all or to tie with Andrew. And this one, I do remember who sent it. This was sent by a friend of the show, Lauren Longbottom, who is expecting her second child. So congratulations to her.
Why do you have to put her personal information on blast like that? That's rude.
The topic is, recently at Disney World, a woman was given $15,000 in damages after she was hit by a scooter at the park and needs surgery. Additionally, she's demanding that Disney needs designated scooter lanes in their park, as well as driving courses that you must take before you can rent out a scooter. Brooke, you are of the belief that this is an outrageous request. Andrew, you think that this is beyond reasonable.
So let me just ask for clarification before we get into this. The woman who was hit.
Yes.
She was hit by somebody riding a scooter.
A scooter, like sit-down scooter.
Yes. Was the person on the sit-down scooter disabled?
I would imagine so.
Do we know for fact?
I had sent an article to both of you prior, but I do not recall. I will pull that up.
What else would I want to know? So she sued and got $15,000.
$15,000.
How long did it take for her to get that money?
So it says, an Orange County woman is suing Disney after she says that she was ran over by a motorized scooter last year at Epcot and knocked to the ground. She filed the lawsuit on Monday and is seeking more than $15,000 in damages. Sorry about that. 59-year-old, I'll leave her name out, annual pass holder said that she was hit from behind and didn't see the electric scooter coming. She needed surgery to put a steel rod into her hip and could require a hip replacement surgery in her future. The lawsuit centers around the incident between the two guests. We are committed to providing a safe environment for the cast members and guests, a Disney spokeswoman said in a statement, and we will respond to these allegations as appropriately in court. The lawsuit alleges that Disney is negligent because there's no designated scooter lanes to separate riders from visitors that are on foot, and the scooter drivers do not get safety instructions. It was a reasonably foreseeable as an individual could be run over by a scooter due to the vast amount of people on foot and the scooters in one congested area, the lawsuit says. The dangerous conditions had existed for a sufficient length of time so that Disney should have known. In December, a fight over a similar lawsuit ended. A woman who sued Disney after a scooter ran her over at Hollywood Studios gift shop voluntarily dismissed her lawsuit, according to all court records. I believe the floor is Andrew's for this one.
So, I will say and start with the fact that the woman who was hit by a scooter was nearing 60 years of age.
Mm-hmm.
She's at Disney World enjoying her time, having a great vacation, and is mercilessly struck by a scooter by somebody who
Strike this from the record, inflation.
we don't even know if she was hit with such a force that she was knocked down and required to go through surgery, meaning a hip replacement. And with that being said, I think it is absolutely ridiculous that Disney does not have more safety regulations around the scooters. Having seen scooters in the Disney parks themselves and how chaotic that place is, I think it is ridiculous that they did not invest in designated scooter lanes. Additionally, the fact that the person or people renting the scooters or using the scooters are not required to sign off on any rules or safety things, I think is something that should be implemented by Disney as one, a safety measure for them to protect their guests or riders, as they said. And additionally, Disney should use this opportunity to leverage some of the new autonomous technologies and maybe have autonomous scooters that will stop and not hit pedestrians or have special warnings or maybe airbags that if they strike a pedestrian, something stops there from being a bad incident. I just think there's a lot that could be done, especially this is a 60-year-old woman, but imagine it a small child. Maybe a small child who has a disability, and that scooter hit could have been life-threatening. You know, we look at this as a woman who might need a hip replacement, but it could have been much worse. And this is a great opportunity for Disney to really look at this and do something about it.
All right, the floor is now open to Brooke.
Thank you. I will concede that Disney should designate scooter lanes and wheelchair lanes. I will concede. I believe that is long overdue, and honestly, a tad bit surprising that they have not already done so. However, I do not think Disney should be held responsible for the actions of their park guests. How are they to know when someone may accidentally bump into someone with their motorized vehicle? I believe it is a little bit asinine, potentially a quick money grab for this woman to sue Disney over such an incident. I believe the party that did the, as my constituent said, merciless hit should be held accountable, not Disney. I don't think there is truly any feasible way that Disney could teach people how to use scooters. I believe they could absolutely supply them with some ground rules, some sort of, best practices. Here's how you use the scooter. This is how we expect you to operate it. But ultimately, people are autonomous creatures. They are going to do as they wish. And sometimes It's as simple as accidents happen. I don't remember the rest of what this lady was asking for.
$15,000.
Did she already receive the $15,000?
From the article that I just read, no.
And she wants that from Disney.
Yes.
And damages. What was the damage? Did she break anything?
She needed a metal rod placed in her hip and might need full hip replacement surgery.
I believe that should be the responsibility of the other party that was involved in the accident. I don't think Disney, I mean, perhaps as a gesture of goodwill, could offer her that to try to make good on the situation, because clearly nobody wants to go to a Disney park and have such an experience. That's the opposite of what we want. And as Andrew said, it could have happened to a child, which could have been even worse. But again, I don't think Disney can regulate those things. Accidents will happen no matter what, no matter how many safety guards you put up, things will go awry occasionally. People should also just be aware of their surroundings. If something is about to hit you, you should be able to move out of the way. If you are driving a scooter, you should have the cognizant ability to see what is around you and to adjust as needed. Same as driving a car. I yield my time.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I will say that I do agree with you that it is the responsibility of the rider of the scooter to be mindful of what they're doing. And yes, at the end of the day, this was an accident. Hopefully it wasn't some asshole on a scooter who thought it would be funny, because we've seen that, maybe personally done it. However, I can also say that from the woman's perspective who's paying Disney to go enjoy her time at a park, gets hit by somebody on a scooter that was provided by Disney, and Disney is now having this woman have to deal with this on her own with this other party outside of Disney when it all happened at Disney when they're paying customers, I think is shameful on Disney. And that is something where it could have been a quick win and a quick kind of, I don't want to say publicity moment, but publicity moment to show, like, you know, we're here to make magical experiences. You did not have a magical experience. We're going to take care of this. Anything medical stuff that happens, we got you. You know, here's a free trip for you and your family. Like, it would have been so easy for them to do. Yeah.
I'm about to go get run over at Disney World if that's the case.
Let me tell you what.
How many people would be doing that?
I can tell you, having metal rods put in you is very annoying, and it is a lifelong of issues. And so this woman is always going to have to think back to that fucking scooter.
Sounds like she can't let things go.
No, and Disney doesn't let her because they just added a fucking new Frozen ride at Epcot, which is probably where she got hit. So not only did she get hit by this scooter by somebody, now she has Let It Go tied to that fucking memory and can't let it go. So again, Disney needs to do something here. And they need to do it quick.
Disney should do something, and they should implement scooter lines. And
I agree. I think it's bare minimum.
I think they should absolutely do that. I don't think they should be held accountable for the actions of one individual in their park.
Correct. But they can take action to ensure that
I agree. They can take action. I do think it is rather ridiculous, though, that this woman is blaming Disney for the incident, because, well, they could have done things to mitigate this. Maybe it could have been prevented with a scooter lane. I don't know the exact whereabouts of where this happened or how it happened. That is between them and Jesus.
And that's the other thing. What if it was a faulty scooter and the brakes were not working?
Please let me finish my thought.
Suggestion that it's a faulty scooter.
Excuse me,
on the record, please.
Chairman. I would like to finish my thought.
I just want to clarify that nothing says it's a faulty scooter, so we are striking that from the record.
Nothing says it's not a faulty scooter, though.
It would absolutely have been reported in the news.
Even with the implementation of scooter lanes, this can still happen. This is not an incident that Disney can absolutely eliminate. This will always be a risk in parks, and as such, Disney should not be held accountable. I think there should be a no liability clause that when these things happen, they can step back from it, because it is not their user error. It is the user error of a specific individual in the park, and that party should be held accountable.
Did the person renting the scooter sign anything on Disney paper to say that they are liable for anything that happens?
It does not say if it was a rented scooter. It could have been their own provided scooter.
So Disney's allowing vehicles into their parks without thoroughly
because they
checking
do
them?
not prevent the disabled from enjoying their parks.
No, but they should
Are you
check to make
saying
sure
that
that the
they
carts
should?
are working. What if there was a bomb strapped to one?
Again, people could have bombs strapped to themselves, hidden in any devices. This is beside the point. We are talking about motorized vehicles for the handicapped.
This is really just exposing the much bigger problem that we face here at Disney World. And that
Which is
is
explosives.
the unknown terror of explosives strapped underneath of motor scooters that are brought in outside of Disney parks.
Yeah, I can't even argue that.
Have you
that
been
is a
to Florida?
legitimate
It's
scare.
terrifying.
I did. Within 10 minutes of being there was a shirtless man just running down the highway. It was scary.
Now imagine him coming into Disney on his own scooter.
I'm automatically thinking explosives.
See?
That is the bigger concern here, is explosive strapped to motorized vehicles in the
So
Disney
you
park.
agree that Disney needs to take much bigger measures to remedy
To remedy the
huge
explosive
concern
situation,
of
yes.
scooters in
with
Disney
explosives.
parks.
No, not scooters and
that are not
scooters
checked.
with explosives.
Not checked.
Scooters with explosives.
Better thought. Disney, instead of giving them scooters,
If Disney lets a scooter
gets a
get through that has
character
explosives,
to
they should
drive them
absolutely
around
be held accountable.
in a scooter or push them
How
around.
many characters are you going to need? How many people are going to fake injuries to get a character driver? I would break my own damn leg for Flynn Rider to drive me around. Then you get abuse of that privilege, and it's just no good. You can't do that.
Why would you break your leg? You could just fake it. It's not like they check for IDs
I would
or
want exactly.
X-rays.
You are exposing the loopholes in that system already.
We need final statements, please. Final statement starting with Andrew.
As a visitor and as a visitor of Disney parks, as a concerned individual for the human race and its overall well-being, and as an individual who's personally has had metal rods placed into their body
Due to explosives on a scooter.
due to explosive scooters and negligence of scooter drivers, specifically drivers, it can cause a lifelong traumatic event. And PTSD. This woman has now PTSD and is going
I
to
believe
need,
we cannot make
and
assumptions.
my time is mine.
It's you reclaim your time. for you.
I reclaim my time. She is going to have lifelong problems and is most likely going to need a hip replaced. And what if she was a spry individual who had grandkids that she liked to play with and now can't? Disney, it is because of Disney parks that person on the scooter was there. They were under Disney's roof when it happened. It is Disney's responsibility as a global leader of making dreams come true, bringing happiness and joy to people's lives, to own this event and do something about it, primarily
15 seconds from
for the care of that woman and to make sure she's okay, and 2, to take preventative measures for future incidents that could occur.
Brooke, the floor is now open for your.
And I'm not going to interrupt you while you talk, so go ahead.
You just did, because it was my time and now I reclaim it for me. I believe that outside of the extenuating circumstances, Disney is responsible for implementing scooter and motorized vehicle lanes to mitigate such instances such as these. I believe that is long overdue. However, for Disney to be required to pay someone damages that they sustained through a very personal and isolated incident inside their park is ridiculous. That responsibility befalls the other party involved in the matter, what you could deem as the guilty party. Right? Oh, Lord. Sorry. I think that it would be a gesture of, good faith for Disney to pay the damages in this instance. However, that could start a precedent of always paying for these types of incidences. I don't think that every accident that happens in a Disney park is because of motorized vehicles. So I don't think Disney is always accountable. I just think that this is a potential money grab. I think it is exploiting a very successful, very lucrative business and company, empire, if you will. In closing, I believe there are things Disney can learn and fix from this, but I believe it's all very inflated. It's all a tad ridiculous. The end. Hey.
So I've heard both sides, and while I believe that Brooke made a very strong argument, Andrew spoke of something very near and dear to my heart, which is explosives strapped to scooters.
I think that is something we can all absolutely get behind. Explosives strapped to scooters is really the biggest danger to Americans. That should be a national emergency.
And so long as that is a fear that exists within us, I believe I must award this to Andrew. Disney is responsible for paying this woman back and also doing everything in their power
Prevent
to stop
explosives on
explosives
scooters.
from getting in via scooters.
Pedal carts. Hear me out. Pedal carts instead of scooters.
If they are handicapped, how are they going to pedal?
If they are handicapped, they get the autonomous scooter. If they are lazy, they get a pedal
Autonomous
cart.
scooters crash too.
This is true.
You see?
So the debates end in a tie. So feel free, if you enjoyed this episode, to send us more debate topics at Disney.
We need a tiebreaker.
At gmail.com.
Hi, honey.
But I, as the judge, will leave now and let you guys wrap up.
Oh, goodness.
Bye. Well, guys, that was our back-to-back episodes of our debates. Yeah, not the first
were
debates
they
we
really
debate, but-
I've never really debated before.
I mean, we didn't have podiums, so they weren't that
No.
official.
Maybe we should
Thanks,
get that
Producer
next
Matt.
time. Maybe we should dress in suits and have podiums.
I know of a place we could film that. Perfect. Okay. But y'all, thank you guys for listening. We actually had a lot of fun doing this.
Yes, I did too. Please contact us. Let us know if you have an opinion on any of our debates. If you want to pick a side, you should probably pick mine. Or if you have future debates you want us to argue about, you can contact us at
DisNeatoPodcast@gmail.com. If you want to send us an email, or you can reach out to one of our social media pages, maybe our Facebook group, DisNeatos, or you can find us on Twitter or Instagram at DisNeatoPodcast. Or if you're super old school, check us out on our website at DisNeatoPodcast.com. Otherwise,
thank you. Stay safe. Be on the lookout for scooters with explosives. Bye.
you start this one.
I'm Brooke. It doesn't have the same ring.
You started so fast after I said that.
You said you gave me a direction.
It's like, you start there. I'm Brooke.
All right.
DisNeato podcast episode 746,002 starting.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network. You're listening to the Geekscape Network.